Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome back. I should mention right off the bat, I have not been feeling all that well today. Wound up skipping out on games earlier in the day with my friends because I just needed to rest it off. I wound up going back to sleep for like 4 additional hours. I've not gotten up to a lot today, so I'm going to be a little bit sniffly and not wonderful. I apologize for it in advance. My eyes are going to be... It all started a little bit with getting this old fuzzy blanket out of the closet because I wanted some additional warmth on my bed. And unfortunately, this fuzzy blanket was tremendously just been like soaking in pet dander for the entire time I had it in the closet, like just getting utterly imbued with it. So I feel like the fuzz of the blanket was indeed just pet dander. And while I have a dog and 2 cats, I'm pretty allergic to cats. I mostly get over it, but if it's in really concentrated forms like that, it still gets back to me, and so like it's been really messing me up. And I've put it back to be laundered since then, but like it's yeah. So anyway, not feeling great today, not able to breathe all that well, but still here to do some more Ironsworn. I do want to get back in this in particular because I'm going to be off next week with my parents in town. But anyway, let me get primed for this game because I was looking around. I was like, oh, I don't have any bourbon left, and I realized I do actually. I had a friend who visited at one point who gave me this little like mini bottle of bourbon, Woodford Reserve, and yeah, it feels all the better considering we're getting into Coyote Devereaux mode here. All the better to have just this like mini, very concealable bottle of bourbon. So anyway, let me crack this open and get primed for the game tonight. When we last left off on this game, of course, you may recall, we actually got a lot of shit done and last session, and I think this session is going to be no different. That was barely like the tiniest little thimble of bourbon. It's hard to get a lot out of this mouth, but I'll be... Anyway. This session should be no different. I'm calling it here. Our very original Iron Vow. The steal the caravan and deliver it back to Red Robert. The original vow that kicked off this whole adventure. We're resolving it today. It's finally going to come out because, as you may recall, the scene where we left off was Coyote in Red's compound again. He'd gained a little bit of the friendship of like the rest of Red's gang, and with their help convinced Red Robert to let his dad go because the deal was Coyote was going to lead him directly to the storeroom where all the supplies were, where the caravan was. The problem with that is that was all a fabrication. Coyote has no idea where the supplies are. He didn't think he would have to immediately go there. He was just saying, hey, I'll take you there, like I've got the key. He just held up a random key and then claimed some random location and said, oh yeah, they're being stored in this warehouse. Totally not true. There's nothing waiting there for him, and he's basically got the equivalent of a gun in his back right now. I mean, it's not literally, but they're shoving him along the way. Coyote is required to take them to them right now, in exchange for his father being let go. So, yeah, let's just dive right back into it. Pull up the other view. So here we go. Everything as you recall. Our current Iron Vows: steal a caravan and deliver back to Red, as in Red Robert. Help Chops frame Red Robert for murder. Whoopsie. We need to check in with Chops. We haven't seen him in many episodes. Wonder what he's been up to over these like several weeks that Coyote's been gone. And I will defend Gibbet against the Shadow Bears and kill Ton. We have just barely... The one box of support on that was... he got a promise from... God, what was his name? Big Brother, that's right. Got a former priest turned raider. Has promised him that he would get his men to support in the fight coming up against these Shadow Bears. Got their support, but in exchange, Coyote had to promise to make peace with Red Robert. This was Red Robert is Big Brother is a mutual friend of Red Robert's and Coyote. I said let's jump back into this, and then I got tangled up again with telling you what happened. So, that's how we left it. I am so going to finish up. I think in this scene, I think we're going to see, or at least like this series of scenes, we're going to see that Steal the Caravan get resolved. I'm going to try and get one more milestone out of that, and then see if we can wrap it up. Finish our Iron Vow. So, first things first, Coyote knows obviously he's fucked right now. There's nothing waiting at this site. He needs an opportunity, some way to be ready, because obviously it's got to go down now, because Coyote's going to lead him to a place. Red Robert's going to see there's nothing there, and it's done for Coyote. That's a bad thing. So he knows, obviously they had a plan to ambush Red Robert and just, like, take him into jail. But it's not set up, and he needs that to happen. So, he knows he's got one shot here to get this back in his favor. And thankfully we've got a little bit of momentum built up. Not a lot, but a little bit. His dad's about to be let go. And Coyote knows his dad, he needs him to go take a message, because he knows there's no way Red Robert's going to let Coyote go, but maybe, you know, he doesn't require the dad to be there as well. So, Coyote, you know, they're there. We see the, you know, letting Filch out of his cell. You know, the key turns, they open up the iron, and Filch is not looking great. He has clearly been being harassed and abused this entire 3 weeks. Like, you can just see all over his body. You know, his clothes are ragged. He's been wearing the same clothes for 3 weeks and not been allowed to bathe or anything. He stinks utterly. They're fraying, they're coming apart. He hasn't even have a bed in there. He's just been sleeping on this cold, kind of abrasive ground, and there's just flies all over the place. I want to say the floor of this cell isn't even, like, it's not even concrete. It's just, like, it's just dirt, and so he's utterly filthy, and his body is not any better than his clothes. Obviously, it seems like for fun, somebody, whether it's the gang or Robert, we don't know, but somebody every once in a while has been taking out their frustrations on him. His nose looks a little bit more freshly broken than we've seen in the past. He looks like he's been through hell. Eyes are just, like, haggard. He barely seems to have the energy to look up at Coyote when he comes in. Like, when the cell door opens, you'd think that would be that would inspire this great, like, happiness in him, but no, not. He's been just so broken while in here that, like, it's kind of like now, granted, not nearly to this degree, but, like, for those of you who watch Game of Thrones, you know, after a while, Theon Greyjoy just starts believing, like, no, it's just another trick. Like, I'm not going to be let go. It's that sort of thing. No, he hasn't been treated nearly that badly, but he just kind of looks up and just is expecting the cell door open means somebody's going to come in and hit him. That's all there is to it. So he's not exactly excited for it. But he's not, like, cowering back in the corner either. He's just like, all right, you know, let's have it. Another day. This is just the way things work here. And then I think there's this, so Coyote rushes into the cell to go hug his dad and get him free, you know, get him out of here. And yeah, let's zoom in on that a little bit. Stop just describing it, maybe act it out a little bit. Sorry again, I apologize. I'm feeling shitty today. There's gonna be a lot of sniffling, and I am so sorry for that. Dad. Oh my God, what have they done to you in here? You know exactly what they've done to me, boy. And he's, like, slumped over on as Coyote is, like, you got, you know, one arm over him, he's helping lift him up out of here. You know exactly what. Yeah, he didn't, and Coyote, you know, addresses the gang members again, like, you didn't have to do that, you know. Yeah, what does that gain? It, like, doesn't matter. And so, like, anyway, Coyote leans his forehead up against his dad and, like, embraces him close because he needs this opportunity to give him a message. And let's do that right now. He needs to tell him, Dad, I'm gonna stall as long as possible but when you get out of here, I need you to find Babyface, Angelface. Sorry, not Babyface. I always need to look at my notes again. Angelface Briarthorn, and he says the last place he saw her. I don't remember as a player that, like, we never gave a name to this establishment, but they just met up recently, at this like tavern area. So he gives him the name, like, she was just at the blah, blah, blah tavern. Need to find her and tell her to, and tell her it's the moment is now at the address, the fake address that he gave Red Robert. So, you know, assemble the troops. She'll know what to do. You know, just tell her you need to get over there as quickly as possible. I'll stall as long as I can. So, obviously, the danger of this is being found out. You know, if somebody overhears or notices that he's giving a message and, like, starts questioning, that's a problem. So the move we're going to do here is face danger, because this is indeed attempting something risky or reacting to an imminent threat. Is deception, stealth, or trickery, so this is going to be a shadow roll. My trickster capability does not play into this, though. He's not really tricking. He's not lying, bluffing, stealing, or cheating. He's just trying to whisper something in somebody's ear. Like, it's the tiniest of arguments is there for it could be a bluff because he's pretending to be hugging his dad when really he's delivering a message. So actually, yeah, you know what? I've been convinced. I've convinced myself with that argument. I feel like, considering the name of this ability is Trickster, that it is relevant. He is indeed, he's doing a trick here. So we're gonna roll Shadow with a +1. Let's just do this. He needs to deliver this message effectively, and obviously there's several things that could go wrong with this. They could be overheard. His dad could just not be willing to take that kind of risk after all he's been through. There's all sorts of stuff that we can envision as to why this could go wrong. Let's see what happens, though, as soon as I really, really want this to go right. So, anyway, more bourbon. Come on, Coyote, you can do it. Or, you know, instead of it going right, we could have just about the worst thing possible happen. Not only a failure, but a failure on doubles. We cannot correct for it with momentum. Doubles, as it says down there, complication. So it's basically a critical fail, if you're unfamiliar with the mechanics of this game. So a critical failure on this roll. I think that, I mean, if it's critical, I think we were all envisioning what that means. Yeah. Welcome, Fromage. Let's hear your theme real quick. Your theme will be the RIP. It's not a very good rest in peace theme, but action is about to happen, so it is kind of fitting. Man, I was so ready. I was going to be saying, like, how willing I was to spend momentum on this roll, because this one was really important. But unfortunately, it's the worst possible roll. Well, technically, it could be slightly worse if we rolled double 10s, because the number on the die is supposed to influence a little bit of just how bad of a critical it is, if you choose to do that. Nothing we can do about it. Momentum can't help us now. So, the price that we're going to pay, I mean, something dramatic and costly happens, is even if we just failed, we'd have something dramatic and costly happens. We need to make that even worse. So we need to pay the price, and, like, in a critical way. The most obvious turn of events here is he definitely got overheard. And now the two of them are in a room with this entire gang and Red Robert. I think, given the critical failure, they definitely, and how paranoid Red Robert has been, he has heard enough to suss out that Coyote is trying to walk him into a trap, and is utterly enraged by this. They are totally going to try and kill Coyote and Filch right now. I mean, they're... Oh, God. You know, it's... Oh, you know what would be really interesting, actually? Coyote went into the cell with his dad to hug him. All they gotta do is slam the door, and they're both locked in the cell. And given that we rolled a critical failure, no, I think a fight is coming. But if we're trying to make this really interesting, I think two things are gonna happen right now. So, I think... Alright. I think Coyote and his dad are walking towards the cell door while he whispers this. Red Robert overhears just enough to grab Filch, who's pretty weak right now, from Coyote's hands, pull him on the other side of the cell, and slam Coyote shut inside the door. And Coyote's like, what the hell? What are you doing? I was supposed to lead you to the... You don't think I heard what you're talking about? You think I'm that stupid? And then he just takes a knife, and I think he's killing Filch right now. I think that knife goes straight into his throat. Just utter spray, like anime-style spray of blood out. Just like, cut like droplets on Coyote's face as he's up against the bars, you know, trying to, like, hands reaching through, trying to stop him. Yeah. Falls to his knees, just, Dad, no! You son of a bitch! Rattling against these bars. Red Robert just tosses his dad aside, wipes the knife off, and says, "You really, really should learn to maybe wait on those sorts of things, or not fuck with me. I already gave you enough chances. I'll be back to deal with you, but as long as you know where that angel face is, she's been enough of a thorn in our side. Be back." Come on, boys. Welcome, Beanie. Just walked into Coyote Devereaux getting his dad murdered in front of him. It's not going too well on one roll of this session. Now, here's the weird part about this. So, the gang, Red Robert and the gang leave out of here. I'm trying to determine... Yeah, okay. I think Red would still be smart enough to leave one person behind to look after Coyote. Coyote's enough of a... well, he didn't try to get him murdered. He just fucked up. And as a result, his dad is now lying dead on the floor in front of him, having just been stabbed in the throat. Yeah, he didn't try. But yes, I think Red is going to leave one person behind to watch after Coyote, just in case. And the rest of the gang are going to go after Angel Fight. They leave. Now, here's the weird part about this. And I want your feedback of whether or not you think this should count. Because we have our current iron vow of steal from the caravan and deliver back to Red. Now, that kind of turned into this weird, like, the real vow about that turned into, like, we deliver him the caravan as part of an ambush, and then we get him. Like, here's your caravan, sorry you won't be able to use it. Now, that progresses every time we reach a milestone. Even though it was a milestone of failure, it almost feels like we hit a milestone with the jig is up. He knows about that we're trying to trick him. He doesn't know exactly what the ruse is, but it obviously involves Angel Face waiting for him to ambush and, you know, something like that. He's got enough of the gist of it that I feel like the plan has to change. At the same time, it did not move in a direction that brings him any closer to really fulfilling the vow. And it is a vow to fulfill. It's not just, you know, let's finish this storyline. So I'm starting to talk myself out of giving myself a milestone for it, because he is definitely no closer to finishing that vow. The vow is closer to being resolved, but he's not going to fulfill it. And there is a mechanic for forsaking a vow, so I feel like we can't get a milestone on that. So... Shit, I was really thinking that we were about to head towards, like, wrapping this up. really quick at the beginning of the session and we'd be able to cover other stuff. But instead, all right, so Coyote is locked in this cell. Now, obviously, first thing he's going to try and do, he's got to get out of here. He knows that they're just going to come back and murder him. So he doesn't want to be in a cell when they get back. Regardless of protecting Angel Face or not, he's got to get out of here for his own safety. So, first things first, there's a guard here. We need to take care of that situation. Now, as we recall, last time Coyote and the guards kind of got along a little bit. He turned to become friends with them a little bit. I think here's what Coyote's gonna do. So he starts just like hyperventilating a little bit and like really keeling over a little bit and holding onto his stomach and like holding onto the bars and like playing up that he tells the guard that he's going to like he's gonna I just realized so like he was gonna play up that he's okay, so he's gonna throw up. He pleads with the guard to get him a bucket or something so he doesn't have to like just sit here in the cell with it, because I don't think it's a very big cell. It's not like they're not in a jail, they just have like a tiny area where they can keep people locked up, so there's not a lot of room. He pleads with the guard to give him just bring him a bucket or something, so that he can get him away. So what he's really trying to do here is secure an advantage. The advantage being getting this guy out of here so he can try and escape. He's trying to gain leverage by making the guard go away. Or he's trying to, well, I guess he's compelling, yeah. Yeah, no worries, Fromage. Nah, no worries at all. Get better. I guess the real movie's doing is compelling. Secure an advantage would be fine if there weren't a better move for exactly what this is. Thankfully, Coyote's got a lot of heart. He tends to make people, actually like him for whatever reason. Despite how much he stirs the pot with trouble, people like him. Yeah, no worries. Please do. That goes for all of you, in fact. As you should know, this is not intended to be just a complete monologue towards you, but any suggestions you have for actions to take or ways to get out of this jam, or many jams in the future, always feel free to throw them in the chat. There is a reason this is a live game as opposed to just making a YouTube video. Anyway, so he's going to try and compel. He's got to roll his heart. He does not share a bond with this person, not in a mechanical sense. They have bonded, but not mechanically. So anyway, he's going to roll heart, because he's just trying to charm this person into, well, mechanically it doesn't matter. He's either charming him or, he is lying or swindling because he's not about to throw up. But his shadow plus his trickster would be the same as his heart, so it doesn't really matter. How does the game work? So I'll show you right now the main mechanic of this game. About to show you through this die roll we're about to make. It's powered by the Apocalypse, so it's all about making moves that fit the situation. In this case, we're making a compel move to try and get this guard to bring him a bucket. Really try and get the guard to go away so we can try and break out of our cell. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll our shadow, because we're being deceitful, plus we have our trickster move giving us a +1 on this. So hold on, let me do this correctly. So shadow with a +1. And now, let me show you how this works. So we have a weak hit on this, as you can see. Now, here's why that happened. There's a quick primer for anybody who needs to know the rules. This is our action die. We add our shadow and the +1 that we have to that. So we have this 5 over here that you can see. Oh, I forgot. You guys can't actually... Wait, can you? Yeah, you can see my mouse. Sometimes. So there, the 5 is, we got that 5 because we did 2 plus 2 plus 1 equals 5. What we do after that is compare that 5 to each of those d10s I rolled. So one of them was a 9, one of them was a 3, you can see down below. If my number is bigger than both of them, I have a strong hit. Everything happens exactly the way I wanted it to. Usually things get better for my character. Often we gain momentum out of that, a mechanic I'll get into in a bit. Everything's glorious when you get a strong hit. It's what you want. Unfortunately, mechanically, the game tends to push towards the odds are you probably get a weak hit, which is what happened here, where you're higher than one of the dice, but lower than the other die. In which case, it's still pretty good, but there's going to be some kind of compromise. Each of these moves tells you exactly what happens on a strong hit, a weak hit, or a miss, which is when your die is smaller than both of them. And you have limited ability to kind of, like, make it better. You can manipulate the roll a little bit sometimes. In this case, there's nothing we can do to make this better. You can use your momentum to kind of do some stuff, but I'll explain that when it comes up. In this case, it won't act, there's no way for it to help us. But let's look up what happens on a weak hit. Doop doop doo. So on a weak hit, as above, but they ask something of you in return. Envision what they want. Okay, so it's like a strong hit, except they need some kind of compromise. This one's pretty clear. So since it's like above, on a strong hit, we do gain +1 momentum. So let me move that up. And they do indeed do what we want. So he is going to get a bucket, but he wants something. And I feel like the thing that makes the most sense for him to want is, like, you know, as soon as I open this cell door to give you the bucket, you're going to get out of here. So I feel like he gestures some some manacles that are on the wall. You know, the classic, like, chaining you to the wall. And he says, I'll get it, but you gotta cuff yourself. And Coyote, you know, still playing up the being so... okay. And he goes back, and he's definitely going to... He's gonna face danger, because he's going to fake that the manacle is closed. He's gonna make it look like he's manacled there, but he can still, just as soon as he's gone, just bust right out because it's not actually latched. So he's going to use his shadow once again to be tricky, using his trickster ability. Make it look like he's locked in when he's actually not. The oldest trick in the manacle book. So he's using face danger when you attempt something risky, definitely risky what he's doing, with deception, stealth, or trickery. Roll plus shadow. That is what we are doing. We've got our trickster ability helping us out. As most of the things we do in this game, we try and lean into that trickster ability. So yeah, let's roll our shadow with a +1 again, and see what happens. Oof. So again, we have a weak hit, and again, we can't do anything about it. The reason why we can't do anything about it, a quick momentum primer. This momentum track that we moved up, the way it works is if we want to burn our momentum, we can bring it back to its reset value. We can go all the way back down to +2. If this 6 is higher than a die, like, we can burn our momentum to pretend that any dice that are lower than it don't exist. So for example, since 5 has to be higher than what we had, say one of those d10s was a 5. It's not, but say it were. We would have, like, say that 2 were a 5. We'd have a complete miss because we wouldn't be higher than either of the dice. But the momentum is higher, so if we wanted to, we'd be able to burn all that momentum to pretend the 5 didn't exist. The 10 still would, but we'd turn a miss into a weak hit. Unfortunately, the 6, while it is higher than the 2, so is the 5, so it would be no benefit to us. So that's how momentum works. Anyway, what happens to face danger on a weak hit? You succeed, but face a troublesome cost. Choose one. You're delayed, lose advantage, or suffer a new danger, which is -1 momentum. That's not too bad. I'd consider that. You're tired or hurt, so we can... Basically, one of our trackers goes down. We're going to lose one of these. Either momentum, health, spirit, or supply. Something goes down as a result of what we did. I can't really make sense of any of the other ones. It feels like... I mean, I could make sense of stress. health would be a stretch, but it just makes a lot of sense that, sure, we don't get that momentum. Like, I'm fine to bring that back down to a +5. It just took a little, like, let's say it takes him, the way he does it, it takes him longer to bust out of him than he expects. But anyway, it works. So he pretends, the guard believes him, makes it look like he's locked in. The guard turns his back. It's time to bust out. So, we still got to get out the cell door. Or, yeah, because I don't think there's a window here or anything. I think the only way out is get through the cell door. Would this guy have keys on him? Because, like, there's a few options here. One is we could try and find some way for Coyote to pick his way out. Maybe it would work, maybe it won't. We could also try and just get out of the manacles and try and very quickly, before the guard gets too far, reach through the bars and snag his keys. That seems really tricky, but in this game, there's not actually anything for difficulty, exactly. It's just things are either something you can try or you can't. So, I'm trying to think. Let's use an oracle for this, unless anybody in chat has any thought on this. Basically, the question is, do you think this guard would have the keys on him? He's not usually guarding this prison. He's just the guy that got left behind. And again, it's not a prison exactly so much as they do have a prison-like structure in this little hideout of theirs where they can lock people up. So would this guy have the keys, or would only Red Robert have them? I'm going to roll a 50-50 shot on that, because I could see it going either way. So... Oh, that's true. Of course. Duh. You're right. He would have to have a way to open the cell to get Coyote the bucket. Of course. Yes. So, of course, he would have the keys. I guess the only question would be then if he would have them on his person at the time, or if he would have to, like, get them, is, I guess, more of what I meant. Like, obviously, the keys are around somewhere. So that'll be the 50-50 shot. Does he have them right there, like, on his belt at the time? Let's see. Okay, so he does. I determined, rolling high on a 50-50 shot would be that he has them. So Coyote he's slipping out of the manacles that aren't actually closed, because he sees as the guy turns, or probably even before he turned, he noted, he's coming up with this plan. He noted the glint on the belt. He saw the keys there. He's got his shot. He's got to do this real quick. So, here's what I think. I want to try and secure an advantage, because obviously it's going to be easier for him to do this the quicker he can get over there. So he's going to try and just he needs to try and very quickly get to the front of the cell without being noticed. And then he's going to try and pick the guy's pocket. So I'm going to secure an advantage as another move using my... Well, here's the question. This could either be speed, agility, or precision, or deception, stealth, or trickery. Because it's a little bit of both, right? Granted, this doesn't actually matter, because the stats are my edge, which is my speed, is the same value as my shadow. So it doesn't actually matter, but I feel like the stealth is still the important part of this. Because he can't just, sprint over to the cell, then he would give himself up. So, it doesn't matter which one I use, but I am going to use Shadow on this. I do not get my Trickster on this, because I'm not lying, bluffing, stealing, or cheating. I'm just really stealthily, I've learned how to move very quietly, because there have been a lot of times I've had to sneak out of town. So I can move quietly while still being quick. Had a lot of experience with this. While he tries to secure this advantage to be right there, basically, in a blink of an eye. This guy turns around, and already Coyote's there to be able to grab him. So here we go. Let's see what happens. Okay, now here is a great opportunity to turn the worst possible result, a complication, because doubles are always a critical. They're either a critical success or a critical failure, depending on whether you got a strong hit or a miss. This is a critical failure, but both of those dice are lower than our momentum right now. I would love for this not to be a complication. I would love this to just actually work. So I'm totally going to burn my momentum to cancel out both of those dice. So this has to reset. We don't even lose all that much. We only go down by 3. Both those are gone. We have turned this complication into a critical, or not critical success, because the dice don't count as anything anymore. Did I say that? Hold on, let me check. I may have indeed said that. That would really suck. Let me check the rules. Good ear for paying attention to things I've said. Let's see. Rules reference. No, at least in the short rules, they don't say anything about that. You can't use momentum on progress moves, like when you're trying to fulfill a vow or end a fight or stuff like that. You can't use momentum on that. But as far as I can see right now, you can totally still use momentum on that. That's fine. I'll try and remember to look into that afterwards, because it may just not be in the quick rules, but I'm pretty sure we're fine. So yeah, we burn that. We turn this into a success, which is good. So let's see. So what do we get on a success? Going back up here. By the way, again, if any of you want to follow along and be able to check out the rules or anything, this game is absolutely free. IronswornRPG.com has not only the full rulebook, but also all of the little quick references I'm using, like the moves reference and the rules reference. All that stuff is available as various PDFs on that website. Highly encourage you go grab them, and then you can you can catch me on stuff like that all the more easily. All right, let's see. So secure an advantage. Strong hit. So we can either take +2 momentum, which would put us almost back where we were, or make another move right now, not a progress move, and add +1. So both pretty good. So if I had a 4 momentum instead of a 2, it's not likely to be able to help me yet. And this next move is very dangerous. I think we need this to work. I'm going to take the make another move right now with a +1, because we're going to get we're going to have Shadow +1 from Trickster because we're stealing, and +1 from this thing. We're going to be really set to hopefully make this work, because I don't think momentum is going to help us regardless, so we might as well just try and get as high of a score as possible. We'll get our momentum back later. We're going to need it, but I really need this move to work. So we're rolling our Shadow with a +2. Come on, man. Let this work out for me. Because momentum cannot possibly help us here. Because if it were low enough to count, we'd beat it. No matter what. So anyway. Let's see what happens. Ah, those are the words I want to see. Strong hit. There we go. And actually, man, we would have been fine. The dice finally worked out. We would have been fine without using the additional +1. But I'm not going to argue. We get a strong hit on it. That's what we needed. So, Coyote, quick as just a... God, I feel like this is the most impressed we've ever been with Coyote, as an audience, because usually he's often fucking up. But this is the moment where he's just... There's no options to even try and pretend to be nice, where he's just I'm just going to be the, roguish sort that I am. He actually finally looks impressive, where he's yeah, okay, I'm going to... just get me the bucket. Oh, a clink? Yeah, I'm totally locked up here. Guy turns around with just grace and this quick turn. Is at the bars, reaches through, and just with the grace and smoothness of the water in a stream, just glides through and grabs these keys out without making a sound. He's got the keys. He can get out of here. Now he still needs to do that without getting caught. This has only accomplished him getting the keys. But at worst, he has the keys. So, anyway, so what mechanically do we get on face danger when we get a strong hit? You're successful, take +1 momentum. So, good. So, this is up to +3. We have the keys. So, the clock is ticking. The guy has his back turn. We know he hasn't taken too long because he had to be right there within arm's reach to grab the keys. I mean, I think Coyote's got to get out of here. I'm going to wrap this all up in one move, though, as opposed... I'm not going to make him roll for every single part of it. Like, okay, now you get the keys, and now you open the door, and now you sneak out. And now I'm not going to break it down into every single small component. We're going to let it all... We're going to use some Burning Wheel on this, and just state our intent as being, we want to escape this whole situation unseen. I want to unlock... Because we have the tools we need to unlock this, get out of here. We can accomplish this all in one roll. It's going to be a stealth roll. It's not going to allow... Our Trickster will not help us. But it is definitely a shadow roll to just face danger with Deception, Stealth, or Trickery. Get out of here. I was thinking whether or not I wanted him to, like, kill the guy on the way out, but I don't think he needs to. Like, they were just making friendly, and he knows the guy, like... He doesn't really have anything to gain by killing him, and it feels like, even though mechanically it won't make a difference, it feels like it's more trouble than it's worth to, like, specifically go up right behind him and kill. Like, he doesn't even have a weapon on him, so why bother? He's not strong. He's not gonna, like, solid snake this guy. Or Sam Fisher him. He just wants to get out of here. And I think the way he'll do it is, like, even though this is all going to be done in the one roll, the way I imagine it is him basically doing a little bit of, like... He doesn't just, like, bolt straight for the... Like, he finds just some way through. Like, it's not just, like, a straight shot out of here. Yeah, exactly. It does seem like overkill. And he's got other priorities right now. He needs to get out of here. He doesn't want to risk stalling. So... He just, he finds some side passage and then maybe a window or something and just gets out of here before the guard even comes back. That's the way I envision this. So let's see if he can pull it off without getting caught. This is another very important role, and unfortunately, we don't have... we don't have a lot of momentum. I'd love to secure an advantage on here, but... The only one that would make sense to me would be, like, spotting a good way out. And his wits are terrible. Let's see, what happens when we fail secure an advantage? Well, if we get a weak hit, it's still +1 momentum. But God, the math is not... Yeah, I think I just got to go for it. Much as I would love to secure an advantage first. God, at the same time, I feel like so much of the reason why Coyote fails all the time is because we don't set up our rolls enough. We just go for them. No, I just don't... The only other thing I could do is, like... If I can find a way to make him secure an advantage with his heart, like by charming the guy, like does anybody have any ideas? What's something Coyote could say to make that guy take longer or something? Like make it seem like he's still like because I had an idea in my mind of like Coyote like talking to him from the cell, and oh, okay, I got it. So Coyote, he makes himself throw up. He very audibly makes the sound of throwing up. And I think to make it convincing, he sticks a finger down his throat and makes himself throw up real quick. Vomits on the floor and then moans and says, like, he waits an amount of time. And then, like, so that the guy, like, until it sounds like the guy's gotten a bucket. And then he vomits and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You might want to get a mop." So he's going to try and get this guy to stay longer by, like, keeping an ear out and then just, like, making him go for another object to buy himself more time. That's the advantage he's going to give himself. So he's going to use his, this is deception again. Like, I wanted to use my heart, but this is definitely more deception than anything else. But he is lying, bluffing, so he's going to get his trickster ability. So Shadow with a +1. Let's see if we can secure this advantage. by inducing vomiting on the floor. It's something I have never done in a role-playing game before. I've been playing RPGs for God, like 17-ish years now. Jesus. 17, 18 years? Wow. Whew, I was not expecting to do that math. I've been playing RPGs for a very long time. I don't think I've ever solved a problem by, I know what I'll do. I'll make myself vomit. That's the way out of this sticky situation. Anyway, let's see what happens. Okay, that's fine. All we needed on this was a weak hit. I wanted to at least get one more momentum. We already looked. Our advantage is short-lived. So, like, it works, but it doesn't stall him long. Like, I feel like a little bit of it is the time that we lost listening out for where this guy is. Like, we only made up for so much time. Like, it doesn't take him long to find the mop. And, you know, he's not going to clean it himself or anything. So, like, it helps, but not that much. So we have one more momentum. Let's see what we can do. Can we shadow our way out of here? So one final shadow move to escape this little hideout. It's just regular shadow. We don't have any plus on this. Yeah. Come on. Okay. Well, we have a weak hit, which should be enough for face danger. Let's see. Yeah, you see. Okay. So on a weak hit, we succeed, but we face a troublesome cost. It's the same one as before. We lose from one of our tracks. So either momentum, health, spirit, or supply. I love the idea of, like, maybe he loses something, like something falls out of his pocket or something as he's crawling out a window, and we can lose our supply. What could it be? If anybody has any suggestions, throw them out in the chat. I wanted something like important that, like, he could need back, maybe. I can also use an oracle here to try and get some inspiration, but if anybody has any ideas of something that could, like, slip out of his pocket when he's crawling out this window. Yeah, not just losing the bucket, yeah. Man, this whole situation has been very bucketful. We have, you know, the guy bringing the bucket, Coyote's dad kicking the bucket, and we womp womp womp. You lose the cell keys, yeah, you can certainly lose those. But exactly, like, I don't think that would really be all that troublesome now that he's out. So yeah, I don't think he needs those, but let's see. Is there an... I don't know if this oracle will help me. I'm gonna roll the theme oracle to see if we can get some inspiration on a type of thing. I don't remember what sorts of things are on this table, though. Time. Interesting. I mean, we could certainly rule that. I mean, even in my Coyote Devereaux kind of, he's gonna loot his phone. I think he would if he had time. If he had time, but I don't think he does. And certainly not if we're losing out on this. But, you know, even in the clothes I'm wearing, I of course have this this timepiece here. So I feel like maybe we could invent some stuff after the fact, and, you know, the classic, you know, some sort of sentimental watch or something, you know, pocket watch his father gave, you know, whatever. Something along those lines. Something of sentimental value that falls behind. The only thing is, though, if we're losing supply is supposed to indicate our ability to, like, survive on the road. So, like, you know, food and stuff like that. Food and ability to maintain our weaponry, all that sort of stuff. Now, the easy one would be... Oh, what we could do, you know... Is he carrying money? He certainly could. It would be easy to... We could just do that, that's true. He could just be... Like whatever sack he holds his coinage in just falls out there. Yeah, that's simple enough. Let's go with that. And indeed, that goes along with our theme, because as we know, time is money. So there you go. Sorry, I feel like I need to take another drink after that. My bad. Okay. So, He loses his supply. But he gets out of here. Unseen. Obviously, the guard's going to come back and eventually notice, and he's going to raise an alarm. So, but there's nobody here to hear it. So, it's not like Coyote's out in the middle of nowhere. They're still, like, pretty close to town. But he's got to get somewhere. Now, not a lot of time has passed. So I feel like he's still got an opportunity to potentially even beat Robert and the gang to Angel Face. He could beat them there, and he is pretty swift, as we've witnessed. So I like the idea of him getting there first. Yeah, let's do it. So like, he's motivated by his dad just being killed in front of him. He's got very little left to lose now. That was the most important thing. That's the whole point of this Iron Vow was to save his dad, and that's taken from him. So it's a man pushed to his brink sort of situation. So he is booking it and doing everything he can to, like, he knows he's an outcast. He's a tricky guy. He knows his way through, like, just shortcuts through alleys and stuff like that, and like doing your old like Assassin's Creed parkour and shit to like go via rooftop to try and beat them there. We'll see how that goes for him. I don't know exactly what it's going to look like, but he's certainly going to try and take whatever shortcuts he can to make it to Angel Face first. Now, let's see. Again, I'd love to have secured an advantage by just having paid attention in town to like know of a good shortcut, but that's definitely going to be a wits thing. You know what? Sure, I'm going to do it, because at worst, on a miss, you fail or your assumptions betray you and we pay the price. I'm willing to pay the price. I'm willing to pay the iron price on this, because I envision, like, if this fails, so he, like, thinks of some way, some, like, ledge that's, like, ordinarily where Angel Face is, like, you'd have to, like, go around and do this whole thing. There is, unfortunately, Outcast is not, so the one thing I get from Outcast here is when my supply is reduced to 0, and I think I forgot to do this last time because I forgot of this benefit from Outcast, because we had been down to 0 supply. Basically, if we suffer any remaining supply, we just have to lose momentum, as opposed to usually it's worse. That reminds me, at 0 supply, we need to be unprepared. So we would get to roll plus wits and do some stuff. Unfortunately, our Outcast thing doesn't help us that much because we're not very full of wits. But hold on, yes, I do need to make myself unprepared. Welcome, Blake. Thank you for that, host. And let me check one more time to see if anything happens when our supply goes to 0. If it's really bad, I may choose to have done something different, because I'd forgotten that as soon as that happens, something bad happens. Okay, so, I mean, it is bad in that our momentum reset is now +1 because we have a condition, but it's not. I'm still going to keep it. Let me just mark that because I will totally forget. So we're at +1. There we are. Or our reset is at +1. So he's going to totally try and remember, having been about town and seeing, like, as opposed to ordinarily this tavern has, like, there's a way, like, to get there from here, you'd have to go around this whole thing. There's a little traffic and stuff, but I remember this alley where there's a ledge and I could climb up and just skitter over like 2 roofs and be there quicker. I could beat him there. He's remembering this thing because he's totally observed it before, and we're going to see if he pulls it off or if his assumptions betray him. Because I think if his assumptions betray him, that ledge is totally going to be unsecure or something, and like he's going to get way hurt in the process of doing it. But anyway, let's see if he can pull it off. He's got 1 health to lose. I forgot how weak he was. Wow, yeah, all of our sliders are terrible. It's a good thing that he's got so much heart. He's hard to kill. He just keeps on strangling no matter what. Anyway, where is the thing I'm looking for? Secure an advantage with wits. This is totally going to fail, but maybe we can at least get a weak hit. Come on. Miss. All right, there it is. Oh, and we rolled so well on our die, too, but unfortunately, all of the dice rolled really well from a certain point of view. Our momentum cannot help us. We have a full-on miss. So indeed, we fail or our assumptions betray us. Pay the price. So yeah, as I mentioned, I think pay the price on this. The assumption betraying it would really make sense if, like, that ledge that he has seen totally exists, but, like, it is not very secured and, like, totally comes out from under him, and he stumbles in the process, and, like, I think he does succeed because we're choosing assumptions betray us instead of failing. So, like, he gets up there, but, like, totally, like, slams his head down on the roof or something when it falls out from under him, gets himself hurt. So yeah, let's now bring our health down to 0. Great. That means that we have the condition wounded. This is all just going so well. Let me just check to see if anything else happens at that point. I don't think so, but I want to be certain. Actually, I want to even see if this is one where we immediately get wounded. Oh, we're actually not. I'm glad I checked. We're not immediately wounded, like out of supply. So, if we have to endure harm again... Actually, I probably should have done this the first time. 1 second. Alright, I'm gonna... Finally, sorry, I don't think about this game a lot between sessions, and so I always have to remind myself of exactly how certain things work. So we don't just lose 1 health on this pay the price. We're going to endure harm. We're going to trip and slam our head down. We face physical damage. Actually, I guess it's both. So we do lose this, but now we need to roll our health or iron, whichever is higher. Our iron is modestly higher than our health, so we roll a +1, and we see what happens. We may roll with the punches. We may not. We may get more hurt by this. So let's see. We slam our head down. Let's roll our iron. See what happens. Hey! Actually got a strong hit on that. There we go. See, rolls with the punches. So on a strong hit, we choose one. Either shake it off. If your health is greater than 0, suffer -1 momentum in exchange for +1 health. Unfortunately, our health is not. So we embrace the pain and take +1 momentum. So basically, he is so laser focused right now on, like, revenge that definitely, like, stumbles, slams his head on something. There's just, like, I feel like it knocks a tooth out or something. And so there's, like, blood dribbling down his lip. Or, like, chips a tooth at the very least. Cracks it terribly. But he's rolling with it, embracing the pain. He takes his +1 momentum. And, let's see. And yes, we don't actually have to mark wounded or maimed because we did not get a miss on that. So I've described him as wounded, but... So I guess he doesn't crack a tooth on that, but he does indeed slam his head on something. Dimpling? Let's hear your theme real quick. So he takes a hard hit. It kind of, you know what it probably is instead? He just, like, he falls hard and it knocks the wind out of him, but he, like, keeps on going, like, wheezing through it all. He keeps running. And he's, so that was all for secure an advantage. It did not turn into much of an advantage, but now he needs to finally, let's see if he gets there in time to warn Angelface. Just escape from prison, or the brig of this hideout. Escape from there. Having just witnessed his father's murder, he's got to warn the person they're after next so they can set up the ambush in time and be ready. The ambush will be in a new location. They can resolve this. Let's do it. Face danger with speed, agility, or precision is totally what's happening now. It's not about stealth anymore. So he's going to roll his edge. and see if he can pull it off. Come on. We've got a +5 momentum again. Pretty good. Let's see. Weak hit with... Okay. We can't get ourselves out of the... Glad you can floss your teeth and not be too bored. Ouch. I've lost to flossing one's teeth. Well, all right. So yeah, momentum cannot help us here. We get a weak hit, which means we succeed but face a troublesome cost. So either it's, yet again, it's one of our sliders goes down. I think we have to do it as momentum because we can't have all three of our health, spirit, and supply be down to 0. That's a bad place to be in. So that momentum we just gained, we lose it back. That's fine. It took us longer than we realized. Ah, okay, I gotcha. That I am the thing that prevents teeth flossing boredom. I see. Well, that's much better. I improve flossitude. That is the attitude one has when flossing. Okay, so yeah, he gets there, and we lose some momentum because it took him longer than he realized, partially because of that fall and stumble and everything. But he gets there with just like moments to spare, maybe more than moments, because I want to have time to set up some kind of ambush. He could use some more yeah, right? He could use a lot more everything. He could use some good luck. But he gets there in time to warn Angelface. Angelface, of course, we've described her before if you've not been in the previous sessions, and they are all on YouTube if you want to catch up and really get the full context of this story. I wouldn't recommend doing it now, but maybe after this game. If there have been 5 former episodes. And in one of them, we introduce Angelface Briarthorn. We have a bond with her. We've got a history. Even though Coyote's a little bit of a shitbag outlaw, sort of, well, more shitbag than outlaw, but she has often been the protector of caravans, and she is one of the actual Ironsworn. She is one of the people that actually carries a gun on her. They are rare in this setting. More about that in session 1, but she actually has a gun. She's actually pretty well trained with it and knows what she's doing. He gets there in time to warn her that so he busts in through the classic saloon doors, double entrance, stumbles in, mostly out of breath, and he locks eyes with her and he goes, "Robert's coming." So I feel like if this were a TV show, that's all we get before we then cut to Robert's arrival. But we're gonna see how well they prepared for the arrival. So like we're back outside and we see Robert and his gang are just like walking up the path, and we can just hear we can hear it coming, panning up from their boots as they all walk in line towards this saloon. Robert starts gesturing for people to go around back, and they're trying to actually ambush her. But let's see what they managed to set up in that time. So we're trying to secure an advantage here. Make preparations, attempt to gain leverage. Now, thankfully, we have somebody that can do this on Coyote's behalf. We don't have to use Coyote's stats for this. Angelface is really going to be doing this, so we could do it with aggressive action, forceful defense, strength, or endurance. It's not quite what she's doing. She's not really rolling iron, but I think we're doing this with expertise, insight, or observation. We're going to use her wits, which I feel like are probably a +2. I think if we had to break down her stats, they'd be edge 3, wits and iron 2. Shadow is definitely a 1. Oh, do I want her to have a heart of 1? Yeah. Yeah, no, I think she's a little bit of a glass cannon in that regard. Like, if you bring her down, she actually will be kind of dismayed pretty quickly. And people don't like her as much. So, yeah. So, I've got an idea for her stats. She's going to make preparations to basically have been up in the window, ready to just, like, prepare for these guys, and be able to shoot them from the window as they come in. get a or something like that. Have a good spot to be able to pull this off. She's been in many battles before. She knows how this works. Let's see if it works. So I'm going to roll her secure an advantage. We've determined that the stat she'd be using has a +2, so I'm going to pretend that we're using Coyote's Edge here. And let's see what happens. Secure an advantage. Okay. We have a weak hit. Our momentum can't help us. Weak hit means advantage is short-lived, so we do get +1 momentum. That's fine. It's the beauty of secure an advantage is it's far more likely to still, like, give you something. If you can find a way to make... So, it's a short-lived advantage. I feel like what happens is she's got this spot, this ambush spot for when they're coming. They didn't have a lot of time. But we've determined she doesn't have a lot of shadow. So I feel like while she's waiting for it, the reason the advantage is short-lived is she makes a little bit too much noise. Like, creaks a board on the window or something, gives away her position, and, like, Robert looks up and sees the glint off of her gun in the window, and it's like, it hits him, and battle breaks out. So we only have just this little bit of an edge before it goes away. So here, I'm going to do something that we've never done in this game before. We haven't done a lot of battles, but we've always been doing them as full-on, like, fight a full battle, roll after roll after roll. I'm not interested in that. I really want to wrap this up. There is a way to do a battle more quickly in this game. We can resolve it all in one roll by making the battle move. So rather than entering the fray and then striking and clashing and turning the tides and all that and ending the fight, we're just going to do one roll battle. See how this works. When you fight a battle and it happens in a blur, it's really quick. Gunfire from the window. And she's the only one with a gun here, so that helps. Which is why I don't think this will be that... Like, it's not going to be that bad for her. And she doesn't want to kill everybody, though. She does want to just wound and all that. Right? Yeah, no, it's all done because this battle's not important. Like, it is and it isn't. In some regards, it's more important than any of the battles we've done so far. But, I kind of want to get over with. I'm more interested in the other parts of this game than exactly how this gunfight plays out. I don't think it's going to be that challenging. Well, they can be. That is the importance of some systems allow for that and some don't. Some can just recognize that, like, is this important? Do we really want to get into the nitty-gritty? No? All right, let's move on. Let's just resolve it real quickly. Burning Wheel is a game that can do that. Fate is a game that can do that, I think, if I recall. Yeah, there's various games that can allow you to do it. This is another one. So when you fight a battle and all happens in a blur, envision your objective and roll. So the objective on this one is she, with her gunfire and Coyote in the streets and stuff like that, being a little bit more from the shadows, they want to take everybody out and capture them because Red Robert, they want to imprison him, basically. They don't want to kill him. They're not executing him. Though, now that Robert's killed Coyote's dad, his thoughts on that may have changed a little bit. But anyway. So let's see. We either fight at range or using your speed and the terrain to our advantage, which is plus edge. Which is kind of what we're doing. It's definitely what she's doing. We're not really fighting with the courage of our... No. It's not depending on courage, allies, or companions. I mean, it is, but... It's depending on allies, but not... It's not a hard thing. We're not overpowering them with iron. We didn't really have an opportunity to trick them. So it's not shadow. Using careful tactics to outsmart the opponents. Not really. Other than having the one spot, like, this seemed closest to using speed and the terrain to our advantage. We're inside, they're outside. We're using terrain to our advantage. I'm going to use her stats because she's definitely the main person doing this. So yeah, we're going to roll her edge. It's equivalent to Coyote's heart. So we got a +3 on this. Let's see. How does this battle go? Perfect. Strong hit. Again, if you're unfamiliar, the reason it's a strong hit, 4 plus the 3 of her edge is 7. 7 is higher than 3. 7 is also higher than 6. Since it's higher than both of them individually, it means it's a strong hit. That's the mechanic of this game. So on a strong hit, you achieve your objective unconditionally. Take +2 momentum. Bam! Our momentum is getting higher and higher. Finally, I see, like, it's just this blaze of gunfire, and, like, she's prepared for this. This is what she does. Like, she is a defender of the caravan. She knows how to, you know, use her shots when she's got them. She's got a terrain advantage. She's got a weaponry advantage. She's got all the advantages right now. So it's just, this is the moment where we get to see, like, we've always talked about how good Angel Face is. This is the moment where we really see it in action, where she's just, you know, quick as lightning. It was a good thing Coyote never had to fight her, because it was looking like it could have been that at one point. Like, blam, 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 just taking them out, knocking away, like, hitting them in, like, their hands and stuff, precision strikes to make them just, like, incapacitated and not really able to fight. Just boring lead through their hands, rolling out of the window when, I think, like, she gets a shot on, like, there's probably indeed, like, 6 of them, just, like, all the way down, clears the 6-shooter, then I see her, like, leaping through just out of the 2nd-story window, like, onto one of them, decking another one with the back of a fist, like, bringing these guys down, and then just, like, very quickly like, tying up ones as she can. Coyote helping, you know, from a distance, probably throwing rocks and stuff. Why isn't she the main character? Because I wanted to do a character that worked a little bit differently. Worked more on being a shithead and having to lie all the time than actually being strong or good with a gun. Like, Coyote actually would be good with a gun, not as good as her. The problem is he doesn't have one yet. I wanted this story to be kind of about him going from complete just snake oil salesman to someday indeed being more like that, like earning his gun and being a true Ironsworn person. He's not there yet. We're going to get him there. She's less interesting. She's already there. She's cool, but she has a less interesting story. Exactly. We got to make him earn it. But thankfully, he gets by with the help of his friends like that. Coyote's helping by pegging rocks at people. We've seen before, he's actually pretty good at that. And before you know it, everybody's tied up. Just completely, they've found some rope and everything. The dust settles and feel like, certainly we need to earn a milestone on steal from the caravan and deliver back to Red, because okay, here's what's gonna happen right here, because we've got Red captured and ready to wrap this. Here's what I'm gonna do, because Coyote, as we've witnessed over time, like, originally swearing these iron vows, which is what this game is all about, is making these vows and sticking to them. It's how you actually get better as a character, is fulfilling vows. They have a mystical importance in this game when you swear on a piece of iron. Originally, he thought it was all mystical bullshit, but he's slowly, like, the more times he's sworn vows, the more they've, like, he feels them in his soul. That last one that he swore about defending Gibbet, he, like, truly believed in the power in his words. So I feel like he's come to think differently. Like, originally, he swore a vow just to get out of a situation. But in this case, like, he's got Robert all captured and everything. Our milestone in this case fills in 2 more boxes just because of the way the mechanics work. But he doesn't want to go back on his vow. He wants to go good on it. And the reason why he reaches this milestone is, I think he knows he needs to meet the letter of his vow. He is going to go, like, they're all tied up. Coyote comes back. We, like, fade back in on this with the dust settled. Coyote has, like, this single thing, like one, I don't know, he found something from a box in the caravan, like a loaf of bread or something. Like, one thing, like, not even a full loaf. Like, he steals, like, he tears off a piece of a loaf of bread from the caravan and, like, tosses it at Robert. And so he has stolen from the caravan and delivered it to Red. That is what he promised to do. He fulfills it. And so, before we carry on with this scene, I want to see if the fates and everything think that's good enough. Is this vow fulfilled? Because he, like, tosses him at him, lets it hit the dirt and everything, and says to Red Robert, What would he say? Because he definitely wouldn't say we're square because Robert killed his dad. So he wouldn't do that. He would say... He'd just say something like, well, Robert, my vow to you is complete. Where do we go from here? Now let's see if it's actually complete. So real quick, we have these quest moves. Sorry, I know like that was kind of a weird sort of just like, we're going to sort of start a scene and then immediately break it back off. I probably should have waited till after this roll was done. That was weird timing. We're going to make the fulfill your vow move. This is a progress move. So the way progress moves work, they work a little bit differently than all these other moves, but still fundamentally kind of the same. Instead of rolling a die and adding a stat to it or anything like that, what we do is we look at how many boxes do we have filled on this. And in this case, it's 8. 8 of the 10 of them are filled. We're about to roll 2 d10s, and we're going to compare that to 8. Momentum cannot help us on this. We don't add anything to this roll. It's just, if 8 is higher than one of the dice, we get a weak hit. If it's higher than both of them, we get a strong hit. If it's higher than neither of them, we get a miss. And that's all that can happen on this. The results will impact this considerably. I hope we get a strong hit, or at the very least a weak hit. Let's see. Let's roll these 2d10. Let's see what happens. Good. 1 and 4 are both lower than 8. We have a strong hit on this. Good. Which means, finally, and I called this at the very beginning of the session, we're now in episode 6. Episode 6, we've been doing 2 hours at a time. Granted, slowly. 2 hours at a time, 6 episodes in. 12 hours, well, we're not fully through this episode, so 11 hours into this, we finally fulfill our first vow from the very first scene of the game. Steal from the caravan and deliver back to Red Robert. Now, on a strong hit, our quest is complete. We mark experience. This was a dangerous quest, so we get 2 experience out of this. Let me clear all these. So that is all wrapped up. Come on. Oh, I just make a lot of dots there? That's weird. Rather than filling it in. Anyway, 2 experience. Now, we've never had an opportunity to talk about advancement in this game before because we've never had experience. So let me fill in 2 of these dots. And before we continue with this scene, let's talk about experience points. What do they do? How do you advance in this game? What happens? Advancement is entirely about assets. These cards over here are all assets. We could spend experience points to gain more assets. We could spend experience points to upgrade the ones we have. As you can see, each of these assets have 3 things they could do. Only 1 dot is filled in right now. So if we upgrade an asset, we get more abilities from them. Gonna sneeze, 1 moment. I think. Come on, just get it out. Maybe not. It'll come later. So you can spend 3 experience to add a new asset. We can't afford to do that. Or 2 experience to upgrade an asset. We can certainly upgrade one. And I kind of want to. Now, the unfortunate thing... What the... Did I... I need a way to move... I need to move that down. I think it's covering up everything. 1 second. I know there's a way to do that. Shoot. How do you move things down? I'm not that familiar with Roll20. Yeah, all that stuff is still there. I know there's a way to do that. Can somebody do a quick Google search for me? What the? Why can I not? I can't select anything. How did we... Oh, wait. Objects, there we go. Objects and tokens. If somebody could look up for me real quick how to move things back in layers on Roll20, if there's any way to do that. I'm not going to worry about it too much right now, but it's going to be necessary later. Or I'll just have to do it when it's done. When the show is done. Anyway, what I was going to... Right-click it, there should be... Send it back. Thank you. Yes, there we go. Send to the back. Thank you. Much quicker. You, for being quick on the fly and helping me. You get a bell. Real quick one, but a bell. So it's unfortunate that we never... These stats will never get any better. The fundamental aspects of our character are what they are. We can't spend any number of experience to finally get... I know we've been often feeling like if only our wits were higher or something. We're not able to ever make that any better. The stats are the stats. But we can make assets better and help make up for poor stats. So let's take a look at these assets real quick before we continue the scene there. So if I upgraded Outcast, I could get either one of these. They don't have to go in order. It's not like a tiered list. It's just you start with the top one, but then you can get either one of them as an upgrade. So we could either, let's see. We could basically resupply a little bit better, but it makes us more of an outcast. And I don't know that I want to lean into outcast as much. I don't want to... I kind of want Coyote to become, as time goes on, more and more integrated in society. Let's see, when you reach a destination... Oh, that's interesting. So every time we go somewhere, we could just, like, know something new. We could know something about it. That's not bad. We're not really making a lot of journeys yet. I feel like we'll have time to upgrade that later. But there's enough we still have to do in this one town that I don't think we'll get a lot of benefit from it in this moment. Let's take a look at Right real quick. So when you secure an advantage, as the one we have... Let's see. So we could be even better at being a tailor, which is not helping us all that much right now. You did. I was helped out with some information that I needed. Right, I don't think we're going to upgrade that. Trickster, however, I recall looking at this before the show, seems like the direction to lean. We've been leaning a lot into Trickster, and we could have it help us even more. So, we could either have... When you gather information by investigating a devious scheme, you may roll plus shadow instead of plus wits. That would be great to be able to not have to do plus wits anymore. Granted, it's for a very specific situation. If you do, take plus 2 momentum on a hit, or when you confess a lie as you forge a bond, you risk rejection for the chance of a stronger bond. On a strong hit, take plus 1 momentum and mark 1 more tick. A weak hit counts as a miss. Ooh. That is, that's tricky. We do need to start making more bonds, as bonds are the way to, like, officially end your character's story. Now we could also, real quick, take a look at our other assets. So these are all the assets cards in the game. Let me just make sure. Can you all see? I know you can't read them, but yeah, okay, you can see them. There's a whole lot of assets to choose from. We already have 3 of these. God, yeah, it's a shame that you really can't... There, I know that's fucking everything up right now, but at least we can... screw it. There's a bunch of asset cards. Rather than look at them from there, it would make more sense to... Oh no, I screwed everything up. Come on. Zoom out. Oh, I should not have done that. Damn it. Gonna have to redo everything when this is all done. Oh, man. Okay, well... With the idea of keeping things moving, just try and ignore how crappy it looks for the rest of the stream. I'll fix it before next time, but it might take me a little while to figure out exactly how to reload that. Wait, unless... real quick. I had one more idea. There we go. Back to normal. I realized I was zoomed in was the problem. Yes. So we could take another asset. We couldn't do it now, but we could see if we want to save up for one. Real quick, I'm just going to read through some of these. See if any of them stand out. I don't think I'm going to take them. You know what? Screw it. This is going to be a lot of dead air. If I have to read through them, I'll look at assets for next time. Like, if there's something I want in the future, I'll look at it between streams. For now, I think we should upgrade Trickster. We're going to spend these experience immediately. I like the idea of sometimes being able to get by without using wits. So I'm going to move these down a little bit more to make room for our new capability. Right here. Because now, let's fill that in. Bam. When you gather information by investigating a devious scheme, you may roll shadow instead of wits. So basically, we're going to be able to spy pretty well. Because we'll get by on being sneaky rather than having to be observant. We can just be in the right place without being noticed. We lurk in the shadows with our hood drawn. Nobody knows that we're listening. So yeah, we're more of a trickster now for the future. We fulfilled a vow. We still got a couple of others, and the real important one is defending Gibbet against the Shadow Bears. We got a bit of an unknown ticking clock on that. But before we do anything with that, let's finish out this scene. So Coyote throws that little piece of bread at him, technically fulfilling his vow. So yeah, I believe the last thing he said was, "So where do we go from here?" Robert is like looking up at him. He definitely has the blood dribble and everything. He's been in a bad fight. Totally got fucked up by Angel Face. Did I have this more? Damn it! Stop messing with stuff. Looks up and goes, "Well, I'd imagine either to jail or to the grave, but I'm guessing you're thinking more grave, given our little well, but her, I don't think she'd be too fond of that. Little lady, you're on the side of law and order, right? Well, thank you for your bits, Panda. There's a reason you didn't just shoot me through the head in that fight. You want to take me in alive, right? You wouldn't just cotton this boy here killing me all bound up like this, right? Oh, FYI, Blake, I have that turned off during this because it would mess too much up. So it's turned off during the Saturday stream. And Babyface turns to Coyote and says, "Yeah, he's right, Coyote. I don't care what your feelings are about him, but can't have you just killing him when he's all bound up like this. It's not right." You want to talk about not right? You want to talk about not right? And here we go on next objective. Help Chops frame Red Robert for murder. A gift fell in Coyote Devereaux's lap here because he doesn't actually have to frame Red Robert for murder anymore. Red Robert committed murder in a provable way. He killed his dad. So we can still get the same results through an actual murder. He just, paid a really bad price for it. In fact, I probably should have done this before. I feel like Coyote's dad being killed was definitely a milestone on helping Chops frame him for murder. Let me fill that in now. Yeah, it's paying off. Totally worth it. But yeah, that should have totally been a milestone for this, because he has the milestone of Robert did commit a murder that Coyote can easily prove. The way you accidentally typed Robert the first time made it look like you were saying "Damn you, Red October," like the movie or book. Yeah, you want to talk about not right? Why don't you take a little journey with me back to? Let's get him over to the jail, but take a journey with me back to the hideout. There's something I gotta show you. And again, I feel like there's no real danger involved with, like, they're bound up and everything. We get them to the jail. We don't need to roll for that or anything. Nothing happens. We cut through that scene to the two of them now walking up. Actually, hold on. Wait a minute. Let's go back a little bit, because it just hit me. I feel like Robert is savvy enough to point out, like, they just attacked it. Like, technically, he didn't do anything. They just ambushed him in the streets and opened up gunfire on nothing. Like, they drew first as a result of, like, her position being lost. She pulled the trigger based on the way to describe. So hold on, let's rewind a little bit. I feel like he has a valid point that he's gonna definitely make here, which is so just like that, let me ask you, lady of the law. You say it's not right to just kill me in cold blood, but you say it's right to just open fire on a group of people going in to wet their whistles? Where's the great justice in that, huh? And when exactly are you going to take in this man for stealing from the caravan? And she leans down and gets her face right up in his, like, she like bends down on the ground to get their faces at level and goes, "How stupid do you think I am, Robert? You know how long? You know why I'm here? I'm here because of what everybody says about you. And I'm absolutely going to take... Coyote told me that you were coming to ambush me. You're going to take his word? His word? Do you have any idea what kind of scum that... You have any idea what kind of scum that man is? Do you have any idea what kind of scum you are? Coyote and I go way back. I know the man he is, but I know he wouldn't betray me. You're going in. And then we're going to see what Coyote's talking about back at your compound. I don't know. The scene plays out way cool. It is really hard to roleplay back and forth, like, all the characters. I swear I'm better at this when there's, like, other people to work off of, but, like, it's hard to have compelling dialogue when you're trying to keep track of all the rules and play everybody. That scene sucked, but something like that happens to at least justify that. And now we're going to see what happens in the compound. So the important thing here is that, thanks, but it is tricky to come up with compelling dialogue on the fly for more multiple perspectives. It's easier when you're only doing one. Because I've done improv and stuff before, but not usually as every character. You need some kind of seed. Now the question is, and I want to put this up to the dice. We're going to make this as a speed thing, because what happened when we last left the compound? Coyote escaped. The guy would have wanted to sound the alarm, but there'd be nobody there. There's the one guy left behind. I feel like he did a cursory attempt to find Coyote, didn't find him, and he's going to try and clean up the mess. Like, he probably figures Coyote's gonna warn the he's gonna get the authorities or something. They're gonna come back. They're gonna find this dead body. This is a bad time. He's gonna try and clean it up. But it's all a question of how quickly did all of this go down? Did he have time to clean up the mess? You know, he did. He was ordered to get a bucket and a mop. Like, he was in the process of getting that. Did he clean up the mess in time, or do they get back in time to catch everything, like, you know, the smoking gun, functionally, of Red Robert killed this guy? Because if they can pull that off, I feel like we can finish up this helping chops frame Red Robert for murder just like that. So I'm going to do this as just an edge thing. I don't know that we actually have a great move for this. Let me see what fits best. I mean, it's closest to face danger, but we're not really attempting to do something risky or reacting to an imminent threat. Honestly, I don't know that this is a move. I think this is more of a random chance. Like, we've played out the way it is. What do y'all think? If you had to put, like, a percentage chance on... Because you've seen how long this took. Coyote raced out. He warned Angel Face just in the nick of time. They showed up. They had a gunfight. Everybody's tied up. They had a short conversation. They brought him to the jail, and now they're going back. What chance do you think there is that this guy is not yet done with... He notices Coyote is gone. He tries to find him. He gives up on finding him. Goes back and cleans up the mess. What are the odds, do you think, that he has not finished doing all of that yet and there's still a mess there? Because we're just going to roll this randomly and see what happens. We'll see what they discover, because we're opening up the doors now and we're going to reveal what we see. Honestly, I don't think the odds are great. I think that he's had a lot of time to do that. The real question is basically, how long did he spend looking for Coyote? That's the biggest thing impacting this right now. And did he go back, or did he go and try and join the others? All that sort of thing. Like, that's where there's the chance that this isn't done yet. Yeah, that should be rolled down like that. I think that if I'm being honest with myself, I don't know, like a 30% chance that it's not cleaned up. I don't think the odds are great. Yeah. Well, let's say 30. So I'm just going to roll a single D10. That's true. He did have to get rid of a body, and that's true. Never mind. He has to not only get rid of the body and then clean up the blood. And getting rid of the body and putting it somewhere would take time. You're right. Never mind. Yeah, so at the very least, the blood is probably left behind. So yeah, we'll flip that to the other side. So let's say there's a 30% chance that he's finished everything. But like an additional 15% chance that he's at least moved the body out of there. Let's call it that. But the blood is all gone. So let's roll a D100 and see what happens. So we're going to say that the top 45, like 56 through 100 is the stuff where like it's 1 through 55 means the body and blood and everything is there. Let's see. 59. Okay, so we almost had him just like everything was still back, but it had just enough time. As I said, there's an additional 15% chance that the body is gone, but the blood is there. And honestly, for the story, that's probably for the best anyway, to not have it be that clean and simple, to be like, and look, there's the body and the blood and everything. Coyote's going to have to convince her that, because she's kind of the force of law and order in this town. So they get there, and the guy, the place is empty, but there's just an enormous pool of blood on the floor, not at all cleaned up. Hasn't had time to do any of that yet. Enormous pool of blood. And, but yeah, there's no body. The blood is by this cell. Or I guess it's not right in the door, because they had to, like, the jail is in this other area. So, like, they go through the door, they go through this area, see if there's nobody there, find all of the blood. And Coyote points to it, and he needs to convince her that is the blood of my dad that they had kept prisoner, and they killed him in front of me. Oh, he's still got the blood. Like, we said that it splattered on him a little bit when he had his throat shoved through. He'll even be saying, like, he's going to try and secure an advantage by pointing out, like, look at this blood. Look at the spray of it. Yeah, he's gonna try and use that to his advantage. To try and put it all together. He's gonna, like, get into the spot and be like, I was here and he was here. Look, it's sprayed. Look at the direction. He's gonna, like, basically recreate it to convince her of this. So first off, is secure an advantage. Unfortunately, I think this is definitely a wits thing to notice, like, to think of, like, how he could sell this, like, put together the evidence is definitely wits. Where is our thing? So yeah, secure an advantage with wits. He's bad at it, but let's see if he can pull this off to at least get a weak hit out of this. He does have a lot of momentum right now. Now, and with that momentum, I could turn this from a total miss into a strong hit, which would be pretty nice. Yeah, a full-on miss on this would really suck. I'm going to do it, even though it's mathematically, it's not great, but really the not great part was what I rolled. So this resets all the way back down to +1, unfortunately, because I am indeed unprepared right now. And for every condition we have down here, our momentum reset goes lower and lower. But I got a strong hit, so I can either make a move right now and get +1 on it, or take +2 momentum on this. I'm going to take the make a move right now with a +1, because I'm about to use a heart move, which heart's my highest stat. I could have a +1 on this. I don't think I'll need the momentum. The momentum would be lower. Yeah, actually, even if I took the +2 momentum, it couldn't possibly help me. So yeah, I'll do the make a move on this move I'm about to do anyway. It would help me in the long term. So it's not risky. Oh, right, I'm doing a compel. So I'm going to try and compel this person to do something, basically into accepting that this is the spot where they murdered my dad. He's a murderer. He needs to face justice. So he's charming. Like, he's trying to convince somebody. He's using his heart. I have +1 because I share a bond with Angelface, and +1 because of my securing an advantage. So we got really good odds on this. Basically the best odds you can ever get in this game, other than having higher momentum. So I'm going to try and compel her, and let's see what happens. To accepting this is the truth. Even though not all the evidence is there, trust me, this is what happened. I was there. This is his blood. I was here. They had him captive for weeks, and they killed him right in front of me. He's got... I'm sure there's still a little bit of the blood on his knife. He couldn't have gotten it all off. Oh, and yeah, and there we go. Because we got that +2, even with that 8 in there, we were able to actually turn that into a strong hit. She totally, completely believes me. We share a bond. I've pointed out the evidence. Recreated this. There's probably tears going down my face as I'm recreating the moment of my dad's death that just happened less than an hour ago. Like, the emotions are all there. She knows I'm a lying scumbag, but she does not think I'm lying right now. It seems way too truthful. So on a strong hit, they'll do it. Like, she is going to bring him to justice. Take +1 momentum. I wasn't using this to gather information, so I don't get another thing out of that. There's a additional thing you could get if you're trying to get information from somebody, but I'm not. That is definitely a milestone, because I've convinced, like, one of the most powerful force of law and order in this town that he committed murder. And that while I don't know where the body is, in this case, because it is a troublesome task rather than dangerous, it's not worth as much XP when we fulfill it, but it fills up a lot quicker. Every time we hit a milestone, it's 3 boxes. I could probably end this right now, which I'm going to try that. I'm going to try and fulfill this vow. We could basically wrap up this whole scene and just like cut to basically like him being executed for murder or going to trial or something. Like being presented with, you know, and this town, after all, is called Gibbet, which is, you know, one of those cages where they leave people to die. Where you put like the skeletons of people to be pecked apart by crows as a warning to everybody else. So it's not exactly a very civilized place. There is a gibbet in this town that we could finally actually see. But let's try and actually fulfill 2 vows this stream as we're wrapping things up around here. Say fulfill your vow. Let's do it. We've got 9 boxes filled. We're even better than last time. So we're gonna roll 2 d10s and see if is this enough, or are we gonna have to there's a trail where they put the guy in the cage. What do you mean? Because like if this doesn't work perfectly, a weak hit on fulfill your vow is like there's more to be done, or you realize the truth of your quest. So like there's ways that we can like not quite fulfill it, which would be like we need better evidence than this. But I feel like we're gonna be fine given the savageness of this area and how much Red Robert's in trouble anyway. I feel like justice might be... This is Wild West. Like, swift justice might come, even without a lot of evidence. After all, she opened up a gunfight. Ooh, actually, that's indeed... But we have a weak hit. We rolled a 69 on that. And 9 is not... We have 9 boxes filled, not 10. 9 matches. We need to beat it. So we indeed get a weak hit. Momentum cannot help us, and it's too low to possibly anyway. So we get a weak hit on fulfilling our vow. As I was talking about, there's more to be done, or you realize the truth of your quest. Envision what you discover. Ask the Oracle if unsure. Then mark experience. So basically... Oh shit, so since this is only a troublesome quest... When you get experience, you get 1 less than you would otherwise. Then we would have only gotten 1, so we get 0 experience because it was only a troublesome thing to do. And you may swear an iron vow to set things right if you do add +1. I think what happened here, it's probably still another just troublesome one, but we don't have enough evidence. We need to find the body. Damn it. Come on. Go to the back again. Yeah, so we need to swear another iron vow right now that we will find our father's body. I mean, for various reasons. Not just to get him, like, as a murderer. But, like, I want to bury my dad properly. I don't know where he is. I don't know what happened to him. Actually, hold on. We could, So what do you guys think? Because I think this is going to be the last thing we do with this session. I'm going to swear this vow. We need to set a difficulty level. The real question is, how much of the story do you want this to be? Should this be, like, actually... Should he actually be hard to find, and this is a real task to undergo to find the body? Because I kind of want to do that, like... I kind of want to make this a big deal. Like... Finding the body is a real challenge, and while we're waiting, like, Robert's in jail, but we can't get him for murder until we find the body. And, like, somehow this guy was able to do it well in time. Now, we're not going to make this, like, an epic quest or something. Like, that would take way too much time, but... I don't know, I feel like we could maybe at least make it... either dangerous or... Nah, he didn't have that much time. I can't see formidable, but let's bump it up to dangerous, just as a representation of how much time it'll take. I want this to be a more involved quest. Somehow, like, I don't know where, like, I, as a GM/player, have no idea what's happened yet, but I feel like it should be an ordeal to find this body. So we're going to try and swear this vow and see what happens. So... we have a +1 because of the weak hit. On swearing this new vow, it'll be the last thing I do before we wrap this session up. So we grab, oh, it's perfect. There's iron bars here. Every time we've sworn on a new piece of iron so far. Do you realize that? Every single iron vow we've made, I'm pretty sure has been on a new piece of iron. And this time, it's the bars of the cell where our dad was murdered and where his body was moved from. He grabs this in front of an actual Ironsworn. Oh, that's going to be great because she's never seen him swear a vow before. She doesn't know that he's doing that. This is going to change their relationship entirely. This is definitely the end of the episode. Grabs the bar and he swears on this iron that he will find his father's body so that they can prove that Red Robert is a murderer. So yeah, let's write that out. Here we go. Oh my god, that's too perfect. I may not be able to come up with good dialogue on the fly, but I can make imagery and symbolism happen. Okay, so I will find Dad's body to prove Robert murdered him. Or Robert's a murderer, just to make that fit. I have to kind of abbreviate these vows a little bit just because of how much room I have in this box, but it's going to be a dangerous quest. It's because it's going to take a while. It's not literally dangerous, it's just how involved it's going to be to do it. And let's see what happens. So we have a +1. Oh, we're actually really going to be able to do this because technically we are making this vow to a person with whom we share a bond, which is an additional +1. We are vowing to Angel Face that we're going to do this. So we have a heart roll because you swear iron vows with heart with a +2. We're so set for this. Again, if we had higher momentum, it would be better, but let's see. Okay, pretty good. Still only a weak hit. So, we're determined to begin our quest with more questions. We're determined, but we begin our quest with more questions and answers. Take +1 momentum and envision what you do to find a path forward. So, I don't know. We'll see what we do on the path forward next time. But let me give myself the +1 momentum. We are starting out this quest. But indeed, we have more questions than answers. We don't know where this guy... Like, this is their hideout. If the body's not here, where would he have taken it? And we don't know. How did he have enough time to do this? And so we have this... I think we have a moment where, like, Coyote is just, like... He's, like, leaning up against the bar. And we can see, like... Just like last time, the spot of the iron where he's touching is glowing a little bit underneath his hand. And Angel Face sees this. And we see... I feel like the ending shot is actually... We see her face noticing the power in Coyote's vow. And, like, noticing that he's at these... He means it for real. And, like, the spirits of this world are actually considering it a full iron vow in the way that she understands it. And we'll end on her saying, like, holy crap, Coyote, when did you become an Ironsworn? And then it's like credits, executive producer Jay Karish or executive producer Sean Tompkin. So yeah, that was a fun session. We got a lot done that time. We fulfilled, well, sort of, 2 iron vows. We killed the dad. We arrested Red Robert. We still got a lot to do in this game. A lot of things. We upgraded. We got experience finally. A lot left to do. I should point out, next week, I will not... Like, we do this on Saturdays, same time, 2 hours, 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific time, over on twitch.tv/midnightjester8 if you're watching this on YouTube. However, next Saturday, the 15th, my parents are going to be in town, and I won't have a lot of opportunity to see them because of I work a night shift, and they don't live on a night shift, so even when they are in town, I don't see them that often. Weekends are the real opportunity for me to hang out with them, so not going to be available next Saturday. However, the Saturday after that, the 22nd, I will have just started my winter break from work. I will totally be available to see where this goes. I look forward to this. I don't know. There we go. There's that sneeze I've been holding in for hours now. I don't know that I've ever been more looking forward to continuing the story than I do right now. I really want to see next session, so it's a shame that we're going to be off next week, but the week after, the 22nd, I'll be back, 8 p.m. Pacific time, more of this. In that meantime, if you haven't checked out the former episodes, please do. They're on my YouTube channel, or again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're plenty aware. All the episodes are there. This one will be here later tonight. I'm going to get started as soon as the stream is done, but it takes a few hours to get it all prepped and ready, exported and up on YouTube. But yeah, you could use that time to catch up on the old episodes, remind yourself how we got to this place. Or if you've already done that, another thing that I highly recommend that you do at that time, go to ironswornrpg.com. Get a copy of this game. It is 100% free and so much fun. Now, you should know, it is not natively a Western game. We are playing it like a Wild West game. Natively, it's not. This is my reskinning of it, which is literally basically just changing the coat of paint on top. We just describe it like a Western. I've changed none of the mechanics. I haven't even changed any of the assets. I've just accepted that there are guns and that certain assets from the main game don't really work as well. The main game is more like Nordic or Viking. It's the same sort of thing where like you're out in it's more based on travel, but like you're out in an untamed wild land called the Ironlands. You're like a Ronin moving around solving people's problems is the main game. And it's more, sword and sorcery kind of stuff, but like very low fantasy sort of stuff. So that's the main game, but you can pick it up for free, the full rulebook. You can download the PDF if you really want to support Sean Tompkin, who creator of this game. You can buy it as well. There's a beautiful hard and soft cover version of this game. I plan on picking it up at some point. I have not done it yet, but I will, because I've been really enjoying this. It's a lot of fun. You don't have to play it solo like I'm doing. You can play it with a group or one-on-one or whatever. But the beauty of this game is that there are enough oracles and inspiration things, and the moves push you in directions that you can. Like, I don't plan any of this. I go into this game with zero, other than maybe the first moment of like, okay, what am I going to do? Like in this moment, I knew that the first thing I was going to try this session was going to be trying to whisper to my dad to go off and like warn Angelface. But I figured that would work. As soon as we failed on that roll and got a critical failure on that from the beginning, a complication, all plans I had on how the session would go were out the window. I had only planned for that moment of he's going to run off and warn her and then we'll try and do something. We'll try and set up the ambush. Everything else came out of just the rolls of this session. It is a wonderful game for that because you can plan nothing and have a fantastic story come out of it. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed. And I will be back tomorrow night for the Sunday stream. Cello requests, as you know. Let's, yeah, I don't feel... I'd have to set up my cello mic and everything. 5 to 9 p.m. Pacific time, I do cello requests. And, thanks! Thanks, Mr. Halford. So yeah, I'll be back to do cello requests for 4 hours tomorrow night, and then an after party and all of that. But otherwise, if you're more interested in the RPGs, I will see you in 2 Saturdays for more Ironsworn Western Frontier. And yeah, have a good rest of your weekend, everybody.